I get it. You've probably come across countless tutorials on YouTube about integrating Google authentication into your app. You might even find my old video on this exact topic. So what makes this video so special? Believe me, you should definitely watch this one. I'm about to save you from the headache most of those guides drag you into, like using Passport.js for Google Auth. Yeah, Passport.js works, sure, but it's a mess half the time. The documentation is shit, it's session-based by default, and it leaves you manually handling user creation, token storage, and a bunch more. It just overcomplicates what should be simple. In this video, I'll show you how to implement Google authentication using Google's very own library. Straightforward, clean, and right from the source. I'll also show you how to integrate role-based access into your API. After all, you don't want every user to have the same power. Only admins should be able to delete things while regular users just get to browse. All right, enough talk. Let's build Google authentication that doesn't suck. Before we dive in, let's break down OAuth 2.0 in 60 seconds. I spent hours on the editing to nail this in a minute. Roast me in the comments if I oversimplify. Picture this. You've got your cat photos locked in Drive, and now you want to post them on Kilogram, but you're not dumb enough to hand over your password. You let OAuth 2.0 handle it. Kilogram says, hey, let me see your photos. You log into Drive, hit allow, and Drive fires back an authorization code. Kilogram then trades that code with their secret credentials for two things, an access token and a refresh token. Access token is a temporary key, lets them grab your pics and expire soon. Refresh token, on the other hand, is your long-term backup key. When the access token expires, instead of bugging you to log in again, Kilogram uses the refresh token to grab a brand new access token, and if Kilogram goes rogue, just revoke that token anytime. All right, enough theory, let's code. But first, stop messing around with that mouse. I know you're here for Google Auth, not to waste time setting up a basic application. That's why I've dumped the client-server boilerplate in the GitHub repo. Link in description. Go grab it. I'll wait. Got it? Open it in your editor. You'll see two folders, client and server. Let me give you a quick tour of the setup. Client first, open terminal, cd into client, and run npm install, then npm run dev. You'll see a home page with a giant button, a dashboard with a simple profile and a logout button, and a redirect page with a beautiful loading animation. Now switch over to the server, npm install again, but don't start it yet. You'll get an error. You need a MongoDB cluster URL in the .env file. I'm using MongoDB to save users, but you can save it in memory if you like. I've also defined product model and CRUD APIs for role-based access testing. You can ignore the product stuff for now, just like you ignored liking and subscribing to my channel. All right, your basic setup is ready. To start the server, just run this command. Now, time to get Google credentials. Head to Google Cloud, create a new project, call it whatever. Then Google's gonna ask you to configure a consent screen. Basically, it's to let users know who the hell you are when they log in. Click Get Started, enter your app name, your email, and set the audience to external. Add another email for Google to spam, agree to their privacy policy blindly, done. Next, create OAuth client. Select web application, obviously. Again, name it whatever. For the authorized origin, add your domain URL, localhost 3000 works for now, and add the redirect page URL right below it. Hit create, and your credentials are ready. You'll get a client ID and a secret key. Google's hiding the secret key because I'm screen recording, but you can download the JSON or copy it later. Now add those credentials in .env file. All right, let's create our APIs. No more bullshit. We've already downloaded all the dependencies when setting up the server. Now head over to the routes folder and create an auth file. Inside, import Express, the Google Auth library, and the user model. Then initialize the router and set up the Google client with your credentials. Next, let's create a login API. This endpoint generates an authentication URL that sends users straight to Google's consent page. Here, set the access type to offline, which means we're asking for both refresh and access tokens. Also, set the scope to OpenID, email, and profile to tell Google exactly which permissions we need from the user. Once the URL is generated, we send it back in the response so the client can redirect the user over there. Now let's configure this API on the client side. First, define API URL in the .env file. Next, create a lib folder and inside an Axios file. Import Axios and initialize an Axios instance. Then, on the homepage, when the user clicks the Sign In button, we call the Login API and redirect them to the consent page. Once the user grants permission, Google sends them back to the redirect page with an authorization code. On that page, we grab the code using a search params hook and call the callback API with it. I know we haven't built the callback API yet, but setting this up now makes it easier to understand when we create it. Until we receive our tokens from the API response, we show a loading animation. If something goes wrong, we display an error message. If everything goes right, the user gets redirected to the dashboard page. All right, let's create the callback API. Here's how it goes. First, we check if an authorization code is provided. If not, we return an error. Then we send that code to Google to exchange it for tokens. Once we get our tokens, we verify the ID token to pull the user's info. If a user with that email doesn't exist, we create a new one and save their refresh token. Next, we set our tokens as cookies. The access token cookie is set to HTTP only, so it's locked down tight. And we also send a user info cookie so we can display the user details on the client side. Import these routes into index file, hook them up, and save your changes. Now on the dashboard page, we only want registered users here, so anyone without the proper token, send back to the homepage. Using Next.js server-side props, we access the cookies and look for a refresh token. If that refresh token cookie isn't found, it means the user isn't logged in, so we immediately redirect them to the homepage. If the refresh token is there, we grab the user info cookie. Since cookies store everything as strings, we parse that JSON to get our user object. With the user info in hand, we render a simple UI, a profile picture, user's name, and a logout button. Once everything's set up, make sure both your client and server are running, and then it's time to test it out. Congratulations, you've completed Google authentication, but hold up, it's not over yet. This is where things get interesting. Remember, the access token is only valid for a short time. Once it expires, you need a fresh one. So head back to your auth routes and create a refresh token API. First, check if a refresh token is provided, then set that refresh token in client credentials to fetch a new access token. Once you get the new access token, set it as a cookie. For logging out, we're just going to clear the user info, refresh token, and access token cookies. Keep in mind, we only clear the refresh token cookie because when a user signs in again, Google won't send a refresh token unless you set the prompt to consent every time, which sucks. So save that goddamn refresh token safely. Next, let's configure the logout API on the client side. When the user clicks the logout button, call the logout API and then redirect them to the home page. All right, now here's the question. Our access token cookie is set to expire in 1 hour. So how do we get a new access token once it's expired? Forget about setting up a scheduler to manually refresh it every hour. That's for noobs. Instead, use Axios interceptors. The interceptor does this. Whenever you make an API call with this Axios instance, server checks for the access token, and if it's missing, it sends a 401 error. When a 401 error is caught, the interceptor calls the refresh API to get a new access token and retries the API call with the updated credentials. All right, I can't demo the Axios instance here, so let's move on to something even more important thing. Verifying the access token. We're going to build a middleware that makes sure only the valid tokens get through. First, create a middleware folder and inside an auth middleware file. In this file, we first check if an access token is provided. If it's missing, we send back a 401 error. If there's a token, we initialize the Google Auth client and grab the token info. Then we cross-check that info with our Google Client ID. If it matches, you know the token is valid because it was issued just for our app. Next, we verify if a user with that email exists in our database. If they do, we attach the user info to the request and let them access the API. If not, well, they're not getting in. Now, as I told you before, we're about to integrate role-based access control into our API so we can restrict users based on their roles. Instead of scattering role logic all over your codebase, which would quickly turn into an if-else shit show whenever you add new roles, we're using permit.io to define and assign roles all in one place. This keeps things consistent and minimizes security gaps. What I really love about this tool is how damn easy it is to set up and add roles and permissions right on their website. With just a few lines of code, you can implement role-based access in your app. Don't believe me? See for yourself. Head over to permit.io and create your account. Add your project name and a unique key, then launch your app. Now it's time to create our first policy. But first, we need to set up a resource. A resource is just the data you want to lock down, like products, customers, whatever. In our case, it's products. So create a resource named product. By default, all CRUD actions are predefined. That works for me since I've already built all the CRUD APIs, but feel free to adjust it to your liking. Save the resource. Next, in the policy editor, you can easily manage what actions each user can perform based on their role. By default, you'll see admin, editor, and viewer roles. You can add more if you want. With just a few checkboxes, you assign actions to each role. For example, admin can do everything, editor can do all except delete, and viewer can only read. Now let's connect Permit to our app. Choose the backend you're using. In our case, it's Node.js. Download the Permit SDK using npm. We already done that while setting up the basic server. Then copy the PDP URL and API key and add them into your .env file. All right, let's get back to the auth routes. Here, we import Permit and initialize it using the API key and PDP URL we just gathered. In the callback API, right after creating the user, we also sync the user details to Permit. We can even assign a role right here by passing a role's assignment property, but for now, we'll just stick with the default role. Next, save those changes and create a role check middleware. First, initialize Permit. Then once the access token is verified and we have the user info, check with Permit if the user is allowed to access the API by passing the user ID, action, and resource. If they're not allowed, they'll get a 403 forbidden error. Now let's use these middlewares in our product APIs. Import both the auth and role check middlewares, then add the auth middleware to any API that should be restricted to authenticated users. Follow that up with the role check middleware by passing the action and resource name. Do this for all the APIs and save your changes. Finally, start the server and test how well the middlewares are working. First, try creating a product without an access token. Remember, my role is currently set to viewer. Just as expected, we got an error. Now add the access token cookie and try creating a product again. This time we get a forbidden error, so head over to permit.io. I signed up again with Google after revoking the grant to our app, so that's why the user is synced here. Don't start cursing at me in the comments. Let's add the editor role for this user and save the changes. Now, try the API again. We successfully created the product. Next, let's try to delete the product. As I mentioned, only admins can delete products, so we should expect an error. Awesome! We got an error. As a fellow developer, this is the only time we get happy when we see an error. Now go back to permit.io, add the admin role for the user, and try deleting the product again. All right, everything's working perfectly. Let's wrap this up real quick. We implemented Google authentication using Google's very own library, clean, straightforward, and without the usual bullshit. We also set up an API and an Axios interceptor on the front end to grab a new access token without messing up the user experience. Plus, we verified the access token and added role-based access to our APIs.